So the USA is in serious trouble this week, and also Donald Trump is showing some serious signs of something's wrong. This is the headline then today. Trump confirms recent MRI, but declines to give reason why. I'll just say this. All this thing boils down to is, do you believe in Trump or not? That's basically what it boils down to. And it feels like when you talk to MAGA people, if you tell them something they don't like, they'll say, oh, you're just a hater and you just don't believe in, our Lord and Savior Trump. It's just what it boils down to. It's like debating a religion at this point. The problem is, though, this weekend is we're going to run out of food. Seriously. This is the story then. Trump is straight up lying, about SNAP funding just to blame the Democrats, okay? So basically we're going to run out of food money. Talking about SNAP, we're talking about 42 million Americans not having enough money to put food on the table. And it's going to boil down to, who do you want to believe, right? I'll tell you what I think. I'll tell you the facts. But at the end of the day, you have to make your own mind. And this is what Trump talks about on a daily basis. Trump, quote, would love unconstitutional third term. Okay, great. But rules out running for VP. Oh, wow. I feel better now. And these are actual headlines. This is from The Guardian. This is just going off of stuff that Trump says. And, it's funny because I showed you guys a joke yesterday because, in this day and age, you need to laugh sometimes. But this actually feels real. In a surprising trend, MAGA supporters by the thousands are demolishing the east side of their houses. Basically, if you believe in Trump as your Lord and Savior, you might as well just destroy your house because he's destroying his. So you might as well follow him and do everything that he does. Because basically that's what it is on a daily basis, is like Trump's like, hey, I got this new way to destroy America. Doesn't it sound great? And all the MAGA people, oh, wow, it's a great idea. So, hey, you can destroy your house anytime. Because this is where we're at. We're out of food basically this weekend. Johnson backs Trump's plan not to tap contingency dollars for food aid ahead of funding cliff. Again, 42 million people. They're going to blame the Democrats. They actually put this on the USDA website. I'll show you. This is actually on the government website, and they've been doing this a lot recently, the Trump people. It says, due to the radical left Democrat shutdown, this government website will not be updated during the funding lapse. Remember, the government still shut down. President Trump has made it clear he wants to keep the government open and support those who feed, fuel, and clothe the American people. I'm laughing, but it's like, we're at the point where seriously, we're going to run out of money this weekend. And they're putting crap on government websites. Okay, it's all the Democrats' fault, right? And again, it all boils down to, do you believe in Trump or not? That's what it boils down to. I think something's wrong with the guy. He's got an MRI. That's just a fact. Then you can decide, if you believe his explanation. But you're going to see this real world ripple effects of Trump's policies. I mean, look at this. Walmart set to lose billions from SNAP benefits stopping in November. Right? This will have a ripple effect across the economy. People won't have food on the table. People won't go shopping, right? That'll affect businesses. And then, Trump's doing whatever he's doing with his MRIs. Trump says he underwent MRI during his Walter Reed visit. And let me read his explanation on the MRI thing. It's from Trump. Trump, 79, he's quite old, of course, didn't disclose the purpose of the MRI, saying it was only perfect. That's according to Trump. It was perfect. The White House previously said only Trump underwent advanced imaging during the evaluation. Okay. And then this is more from Trump. I gave you full results. That's what he said. We had an MRI, and the machine, the whole thing. It was perfect. That's how he talks. And you guys know how he sounds, right? I think they gave you very conclusive. Nobody has ever given you reports like I gave you. And if I didn't think it was going to be good either, I wouldn't let you know negatively. I wouldn't run. I'd do something. But the doctor said some of the best reports for the age, some of the best reports they've ever seen. Everything's always the best you've ever seen, right? Even his MRIs. And I mean, at this point, it's like you might as well go potty and say, hey, everyone, I got the, best crap in the world, the best you've ever seen. And if you report on stuff, right, you face getting pushed out. This just came out a few minutes ago. CBS News anchor John Dickerson becomes latest figure to exit network. And this is, it matters. It matters if people can report and tell you what Trump's up to, like what's going on with the MRI stuff, right? What's going on with the food stuff? That's the food money that's supposed to come this weekend that probably won't come. I mean, and then our markets are excited because we're having a meeting with China, which may or may not develop and produce anything, right? That's what's going on. And then I flip over to Fox News, and this is sort of why I'm bringing up the, depends on what you believe. And you kind of see we got basically alternate realities here. The headline over at Fox News, they're going to talk about Diddy and prisons and Charlie Kirk stuff and blame Biden and blame Mandami because, Biden's not even in office anymore. So we'll go after Mandami. No, seriously, that's what they're running over at Fox News, right? No mention about the food situation, which is going to affect a lot of Fox viewers, right? And that's going to be this weekend. No mention about the Trump or MRI. And then when you look over at the White House, they just retweet this stuff. This is the actual, government stuff here. Destroy the flood, join eyes, finishing the fight. And they got these people running around in guns. This is from the Halo video game. This is the government tweets. And then they got Trump dressed like Halo characters, and it's a video game. If you don't know the video game Halo, okay. And then they're celebrating getting rich with Argentina. No, seriously. Congrats to President Milei on a very successful midterm win. Milei has renewed mandate for change. Okay, great. And then our financial news is Argentina. If you invested in stuff down there, you're doing great. They're getting bailouts. They're winning elections, I guess. Argentina, go Argentina. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent signaled U.S. support for Milei on Monday, but did not refer to a financial package he promised that includes $20 billion U.S. credit line. Of course, you're not going to talk about it. You don't want to talk about that. You just want to promise to your friends and try to keep it on the DL. And another $20 billion in private sector support for Argentina's bond payments. Okay. Quote, we look forward to continued steps to economic freedom that will attract private sector investment and job creators, bringing prosperity to the Argentine people. That's our news in USA is bail out Argentina. Trump's got an MRI, and people don't have food this weekend. It's absolutely bonkers, and it goes back to, do you believe in Trump or not? Next, you got the Federal Workers Union. They just want to end to the shutdown, which I completely understand. We're in week 5, second longest shutdown in history. The first and the, if I want to call it the greatest, longest, shutdown was also by Trump. So he's got the top 2. I'm thinking he's going to try to break his record, in my opinion, but we'll see. And this is a quote from them. That would be the Federal Workers Union. Both political parties have made their point, and there is no clear end in sight. It's time to pass a clean continuing resolution and end this shutdown. No half measures and no gamemanship. When the folks who serve this country are standing in line for food banks after missing a second paycheck because of the shutdown, they aren't looking for a partisan spin. They're looking for wages they earned. The fact that they're being cheated out of it is a national disgrace. I completely understand. And that's why I tell you the workers' point of view here. I completely understand, right? And this is the craziest crap, though, is the Trump people. They just keep wanting to firing yet more people. That's been their plan all along. Remember the whole Elon Musk stuff with Doge? That's their whole plan, is to fire people. So none of this stuff is surprising. What's surprising at this point is there's actually people who still believe Donald Trump. As your food benefits run out, as you're going to get fired, and everything is melting down, and they're celebrating getting rich in Argentina. And then you got the private sector. This was just announced a few minutes ago. Amazon targets as many as 30,000 corporate job cuts. I'm telling you, I have friends that work at Amazon. A lot of people work at Amazon. You may be working at Amazon and are watching this or know about this. This was just announced, 30,000 corporate job cuts. And what's interesting is the numbers shake out to be similar to what Target just announced. And I'll read it. It says the figure represents a small percentage of Amazon. So they hire a lot of people. 1.55 million total employees, but nearly 10% of the company's roughly 350,000 corporate employees. Okay. So it's a lot of corporate jobs. And in fact, if you look at Target, it's about the same. Target layoffs will hit 8% of global corporate workforce, right? While the retail is slashing jobs before holidays. These are definitely warning signs about the economy. Target laying off, Amazon laying off. Trump wants to lay off yet more federal workers, and we don't have enough money for food. And then when you look at our markets, what are we celebrating? We're celebrating, hey, Qualcomm is going to build chips to compete with NVIDIA. Stock goes up a whole bunch. And what's the whole point of Qualcomm and AI? What's the whole point? It's to replace you, the worker. Or you can make it the case that, well, since we're firing all of your coworkers, we'll give you an assistant, an AI assistant to save money. Seriously. And people don't talk about this enough. That's why I always bring it up. You have to understand how our economy is working and what's driving the markets. Here's a quote here from Qualcomm. We first wanted to prove ourselves in other domains. And once we built our strength over there, it was pretty easy for us to go up a notch into the data center level, right? It's all about data centers. I told you guys about this stuff many, many times. The entry of Qualcomm in the data center world marks new competition in the fastest growing market in technology, equipment for new AI-focused server farms. And I guess that's talking about trillions of dollars, 6.7 trillion CapEx, right? Capital expenditures will be spent on data centers through 2030, according to McKinsey. But who knows, right? That no one can predict that far ahead. That's all conjecture at this point. And that's sort of what Trump's whole, when he talks about trillions of dollars coming to the country, it's to build data centers to replace all of you. That's what this whole thing is about. Automation, right? And this is why you have so much angst among workers. Now, Trump will tell you, oh no, just blame the gardeners and the roofers and the maids and the nurses, blame all the black and brown people. But automation is the biggest replacer of jobs. And Trump is trying to accelerate said thing and not being honest with people about this stuff. That's why I always tell you guys the truth. This is also going on. And I understand from the regular person's point of view, they're just like, hey, I just want a job. I completely get that. So that's why I show you. This is, for example, this is a union, UAW. America doesn't have enough weapons for major conflict. These workers know why. Okay? So this would be like your typical American. Works, I think this person works for Lockheed. And this is another one, right? Work for Lockheed. And what kind of stuff do they work on? Yeah, I think you guys know. We're building more jets because we always got to fight someone, right? Got more bombs, more missiles. In this example, this is the Javelin anti-tank missiles, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. But ultimately, even these jobs and much of our equipment is going to be automated in the future, because when you see things like this, and this was just yesterday, right? We had a downed fighter and a downed helicopter. Two separate incidences. I don't know the exact reason. I argue that I think we're just stretched too thin, and then you can go into the exact, reason if you like, but it just, the being stretched too thin, you're going to get more of this kind of stuff. And ultimately, eventually, most of the stuff's going to be drones in the future. I don't think that's hard to see. I think we can all see it coming. And so then you're going to have to retool all the factories, and then even the factories themselves are going to be all automated. I think you guys know this stuff. I'm telling you the truth. The very few people talk about these things. They even though it's in our news, it's in the financial markets, in the business news, Trump will just go on and on and on about, blaming your gardener, basically, or bailing your delivery driver. That's basically what it ends up being. Because this is where I always tell you guys, this is the big money, the real money. Like they're talking trillions of dollars for, data centers to replace you, to take your power, your water, that kind of stuff. And then this is Trump's government here. U.S. Department of Energy forms 1 billion supercomputer and AI partnership with AMD. Great. And you can see the dates and everything. I'm just showing you. This is stuff just came out just a few minutes ago. This is what's driving our markets and economy. It's all this AI stuff to replace you. And then you have basically less jobs and a lot of unemployed workers and not enough food. And Trump and his buddies, right? He just cares about his billionaire buddies. He's building ballrooms to celebrate this stuff. And then just gets you all to fight each other and turn everything into Hunger Games. That's basically what it is, right? Hunger Games, Squid Game. So all the lower classes fight each other for their entertainment. This is the other headline then. AI is driving huge productivity gains for large companies while small companies get left behind. And this is more your sci-fi dystopian world where the corporations take over everything, right? You guys know this stuff. And this is an interesting one. Political peril spurs Trump to act on beef prices even as ranchers rage. So I had the way they describe it is basically this is eggs 2.0. I hadn't thought of it that way, but when you wanted to just talk to the average American, like to get them to understand the stuff, to say, hey, the price of beef is really expensive and it's Trump's fault, and they say, oh, okay, I understand that part. They won't understand all this other part that I explained to them, and maybe they understand the MRI stuff. I don't know, but it's frustrating. It's really, really frustrating when you talk to the average manga person or American or whatever, they don't understand that much. It's just the reality. And I try not to be mean. I just want to tell you the truth on it, and show you everything so you can get what's going on and what's driving our economy. It's obvious, but it just depends. If you live in the Fox News world, you're just going to blame Diddy and Mandami and Biden for everything, right? But the reality is, this weekend's it's gonna hit a lot of people really hard if the SNAP funding expires, which is set to expire on November 1st. And then stuff is really expensive, right? The average price for a pound of ground beef is $6.32, up 14% since Trump took office. So that's 14%, like basically, what are we, 9 months now or something like that? And then their solution is, what are we doing? We're buying 80,000 metric tons of beef from Argentina. That is quadruple the typical quota. So that's our plan, is to buy more from Argentina. And this is what someone was saying. It's kind of like eggs part 2. I hadn't heard that one, but I get that. Beef prices is the new eggs, I guess. This is all kind of started with just concern over consumer prices. So beef is the new eggs. So again, this is what it boils down to. Do you believe in Trump or not? And what's wrong with the dude and what's wrong with the country? For me, all this stuff is clear. I'll just make it clear in the most simplest terms. You have leadership in place in the USA that has no idea how regular people live, nor do they care. I even put more simpler terms. Trump doesn't know who you are, and Trump doesn't care about who you are. That's the most simplest terms. And you're a fool if you think that he does. I don't know what to tell you. It's obvious. And for a lot of people, though, what's sad is, I'll be even more simplest terms, they have prejudice and bigotness and racism that hold them back from thinking that you could possibly find leadership that might maybe look a little bit different than you, or maybe speak a little bit different, accent than you, or have a different religion than you. But you know what? Even if all those things are true, they may actually have more in common with you than Trump, right? Just imagine this. Someone could be Catholic. They might look a little bit different than you, but they're struggling to put food on the table. They just want to take care of the kids the same way that you do. Whereas Trump, he just hangs out in his gold ballrooms with his billionaire buddies, laughing at all of you, while he basically siphons all the money to his friends to build more AI to replace you. That's what's going on. And it's so obvious, but to some people it's not, because they get so caught up in, I really hate my gardener, and I really hate my delivery person. It's really sad. And the best way to describe it is, again, watch Squid Game or Hunger Games and just think about that. Like, don't look at it as a movie. Look at it as like, that's really like kind of our world. And, to me, it's obvious. And in any of those kind of movies, you kind of figure it out. You're like, wow, 99.9% of us are all kind of same. And if we can figure out a world that benefits all of us and we can actually rise up together, we're more better off if all of us are working together opposed to fighting each other, because then the Trumps of them must end up winning and laughing at everyone else. So that's the truth, guys. I do appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.